Just to know what you knew. Restless every time we start locking eyes up. Lost control. Oh, it's paradise with honesty, but I'm in the dead of the night. Let the darkness take control. Let the darkness take control. Darkness take control. May the darkness take control. Take it slow, breathe in, let me go. Sing to your heart to find you. Open up your eyes till you're blinded by the lights, so you can see what you do. Restless every time we start locking eyes up. Lost control. It's paradise with honesty, but I'm in the dead of the night. Teardrops on the floor. The pain is over. Feel the darkness take control. Nice, make my way into your mind. Just to know what you knew. Restless every time we start locking eyes up. Lost control. It's paradise with honesty, but I'm in the dead of the night. Let the darkness take control. Darkness take control. May the darkness take control. Take it slow, breathe in, let me go. Sing to your heart to find you. Open up your eyes till you're blinded by the lights, so you can see what you do. Restless every time we start locking eyes up. Lost control. It's paradise with honesty, but I'm in the dead of the night. Teardrops on the floor. The pain is over. Feel the darkness take control. Nice, make my way into your mind. Just to know what you knew. Restless every time we start locking eyes up. Lost control. It's paradise with honesty, but I'm in the dead of the night. Let the darkness take control. know what you knew. Restless every time we start locking eyes up. Lost control. It's paradise with a nasty bite. In the dead of the night. Let the darkness take control. So you can see what you do. Restless every time we start locking eyes up. Lost control. It's paradise with a nasty bite. In the dead of the night. Teardrops on the floor. The pain is over. Feel the darkness take control. Nice, make my way into your mind. Just to know what you knew. Restless every time we start locking eyes up. Lost control. It's paradise with a nasty bite. In the dead of the night. Let the darkness take
Evening, everybody, and welcome to another round of the South African Online Karting League. Tonight, this Thursday night, we are here at the infamous or famous to a lot of us here in South Africa, the Lenato karting circuit, a circuit a lot of these drivers have driven before internationally during the Rock International Cup. Casey Enzel Smith, who right on board with him now, is one of them. We are 2 minutes and 57 seconds away from the end of qualifying as we drive past a RS nose cone sitting in the middle of the track there. I wonder who that belongs to. It could be either Taylor Hill or her brother, who's decided to join us for round 3, Luke Hill. He's also in the RS cart, so that could belong to him as well. But only 6 entries tonight. Taya van der Laan, unfortunately, having issues with her steering wheel. And Goran Gruben still busy with new school procedures and the end of lockdown and what that it means for him and his schooling. So unfortunately, he's unable to join us as well. So, but today we do have Jude Stewart, Casey Angel Smith. We have Raheem Karim, Taylor Hill, Luviwa Sambudla, and Luke Hill. The ALE you see on the screen there is our race steward. He has to have a cart on circuit to be part of this. So you will see him at the back of the grid, but he's not actually a competitor in this race. On board now with Stewart, who's finally got himself his own custom skin. He was running the Kart Republic skin last week, but it looks as though he's gotten himself his custom skin. A lot of these skins are done by a local driver himself. We look at Luvius and Budla missing a rear bumper. So we've got one nose cone missing and one rear bumper missing. I think I can put two and two together and come up there with 4. So some drivers making some contact with either themselves or the walls there. But yeah, local South African karter, Yuri Swart, does a lot of the skins for a lot of these drivers. You can find them on, I think it's Oompi Designs on Facebook. But while we are mentioning people and mentioning people that are involved in the series, we must mention our sponsors. It's KC Racing, it is Josh LaRue Racing, Full Gas, and of course, Against All Odds as well. So a lot of sponsors getting involved in the series and helping towards the prize packet at the end, the prize packet, I should say, sorry, at the end of this event. So winner of this series will take home a brand new simulator, simulator rig to the value of 15,000 Rand from fullgas.co.za. Speaking of Full Gas, let's have a look at Taylor Hill. She is the daughter of Leon Hill, the owner of fullgas.co.za, who came forward with that amazing prize. All these drivers in identical chassis in terms of the game, but we do put custom liveries on to match the chassis that they use in everyday racing. Taylor Hill, driver for RS karting team and KT Motorsport in the in South Africa, or in her local karting leagues that she competes in a club level, and then her brother as well, also from the RS stable as well with KT Motorsport. But setting some good times there for Taylor Hill. I can't see a lot of the data, so I don't get a lot of the lap times that are being turned. So there are only 5 seconds left of qualifying, so she won't get another lap in. But it will be interesting to see what qualifying brings for us and what that means for the starting order of Heat 1. Heat 1 is, or pre-final 1, is your starting position for your final counting towards your championship position. Speaking of championships, I do have the championship order right now with me. We just, let me just go and double check that for you. Well, I did have it in front of me, and then very cleverly I closed it, because that seems like a good thing to do. So I don't have the data in front of me, but as far as I can see on my screen, qualifying has ended, and it'll be interesting to see as we look at Luke Hill still pedaling around with his nose cone missing. Maybe it would have been a good idea to go in and get that changed before you try to carry on with some flat-out laps. But let's have a look now at qualifying. At the current championship order, it is Casey Angel Smith in the lead with 41 points, Jude Stewart in second with 40, Taylor Hill in third with 39, and Luviwa Sambudla in fourth with... Sorry, this table's all wrong. 81 for Casey Angel Smith, 75 for Jude Stewart, and 74 for Taylor Hill. Having a look at qualifying now, it is very similar to what our championship looks like. It is Jude Stewart on pole ahead of Casey Angel Smith, Luviwa Sambudla in third, Rain Karim in fourth, Taylor Hill in fifth, Luke Hill in sixth. So Luke Hill not on struggling a bit with lag, I think, and that's what he might be battling with at the moment as we get ready for the start of pre-final 1. Hopefully we don't need to do any restarts here. We're trying to run to at least run on time. And restarts obviously will take away from that. But we don't see anybody. Jude Stewart just celebrating his pole position there. Casey just giving a good look over to see what he's up to. But we don't see anybody getting DQ'd from this race just yet. So everybody's staying on the brakes and waiting for the start of pre-final 1. We are ready to get started now. We're waiting for the cars to leave the grid and start the race. 1 of 11 laps. So 11 laps to go in this pre-final here at Lenato. The infamous Lenato Circuit in Italy. They are away and they are racing. It looks like a good start from Casey Angel-Smith. But Jude Stewart getting the run on him into turn 1. This is quite a tricky turn 1. It is a right-hander, so Casey does have the inside line. But as we look behind them, it's Raheem Karim getting through to 4th place and Luke Hill up to 5th on Luviwe Sambudle. He goes round the outside of Luviwe there, running a little bit wide at both those cars, Raheem Karim and Luke Hill. But it's Jude Stewart down the inside now of Casey. So Casey, oh, big dive from Luke. Contact there with Raheem. So unfortunately, Luke dropping way down the order and pushing Raheem Karim into the dirt there. So maybe a very, very harsh move there. But Karim is still able to stay up there in 4th place. Currently, as it stands, the order is Jude Stewart ahead of Casey Angel-Smith. Casey all over the back of Jude at the moment as they head into the hairpin. He's going to look down the inside here on the brakes. Thinks better of it, but there's a big dive forming behind him with Luviwe. But oh, Raheem running into the back of Luviwe and spinning it around. So that drops him right down to 6th place, moving Luke up into 5th and Taylor up into 4th. So brother and sister running very close together there at the start of this race. Casey now in 2nd place, chasing down Jude Stewart. Bit of a gap forming there after lap 1. So Casey just needs to stay in touch there, and he could have a move. He made a move here on the first lap. He's not going to be doing the same now. Jude running very wide there. I wonder if there are track limitations, but I don't see anything being enforced. They ride hard over the curves into the first hairpin, into this second section, the double left into a chicane here. It's quite a tricky little section. You've got to get onto the apex of the first one. The second apex is very important, but Casey not really getting to it there. So maybe just choosing to keep his foot flat and not look for that second apex. Through the chicane here, Jude Stewart turning it hard into the right hand and taking a little bit more curve and getting a car length on Casey there. And holding that car length to the first 180. Casey trying hard to stay with him, but making errors, and that's dropping him into the clutches of Luviwe Sambudle behind in 3rd place into the last of the 180s. This is where we're going to see the two dive moves at the end of the race if these carts are still close together. But Luviwe making the same mistake as Casey, just sliding out and bogging that cart. Looking at the order as it stands now, Luviwe Sambudle in 4th. Luke Hill is up. It shows him up into 3rd. So my sheet here on my right-hand side is not correct to what is happening in the race. Luviwe running super wide again out of the exit of that mechanics corner. So losing a lot of time there out of the exits and giving Casey a nice breathing room to focus on chasing down Jude Stewart in the front. Jude obviously having the pace at the moment and starting to eke out quite a generous gap on that of Casey Angel-Smith. In the background there, we see Taylor Hill. I'm not seeing Luke or Raheem, so I'm not sure. Whoa, big mistake from Casey there over the curb. Able to keep it all together though. But it does look like Jude Stewart definitely has the pace as we go back on board now with Raheem Karim chasing down that of Luke Hill. These two race together quite often in the national series in Mini Rock as well as in Kid Rock. But Raheem definitely got a lot of pace there on Luke Hill at the moment. So Luke struggling to find some pace here at Lenato. Raheem all over the back. Going to be Luke going defensive into the right hand here, not allowing Karim to move, but it does force him to run wide. He's going to have to go defensive again into the hairpin. Raheem all over the back of him, but Luke a little bit late on the brakes there, a little bit too late actually, running wide out of the hairpin and losing that position to Raheem. So Luke just maybe overdriving a little bit. Oh, a bit of a dive there from Luke Hill. Rubbing is racing in karting, so just letting Raheem know that he was on the inside there and just giving him a little nudge to make the room. But Raheem giving it right back to him. And right back again from Luke. So a lot of rubbing is racing here between the two of these boys. And they are racing hard to maintain that 5th place. Luke running a little bit wide again into the hairpin. Sticks it down the inside into the second hairpin. They make contact again. So Luke not giving up that 5th place to Raheem. Not wanting to be in 6th place at the moment. Or wanting to hang on to 5th. Staying on board with these two now because this is where the race is at the moment. The front has settled down. Casey is looking to try and get onto the back of Jude Stewart, but unable to do so. It shows here that Casey has been faster than Taylor is up to 2nd, but I don't think that is correct. It's just that is what it's showing me on my screen. Going into the hairpin now near Mechanics Corner. Luke going in a little bit better, not running as wide as he did previously, but not getting the good exit that he needs. So running into the corner is just a little bit too fast and not allowing him to get a good exit out. And that's just bringing Raheem a little bit closer to him every single corner. So Raheem definitely got the pace to get past Luke. Whether or not he does is a different story. Luke a lot needs to do this game, but he runs wide onto the grass. He's going to have grass all over his tires into the hairpin. It's going to be difficult to keep that circuit on track, as you can see there, running wide out of the first hairpin and losing that fifth place to Raheem. So Raheem really putting himself back up into fifth place ahead of Luke Hill, who's now down into sixth. And it looks like that battle is all but over. Back to the front though, it is Jude Stewart out in a comfortable lead ahead of that of Casey Angel-Smith with only 5 laps left to go. Gives a little cheeky look over his shoulder to see where Casey is, but definitely getting the pace on Casey at the moment, which is unusual considering Casey's done quite a few laps around the circuit. He did compete in the Rock Super Final last year at the circuit in Italy, representing South Africa in the mini rock class, and did very well throughout that weekend. But not translating that pace into the virtual world at the moment, with Jude Stewart moving away from him quite comfortably. But he's not out of the clear yet in that second place. Lewis Ambudle is still close enough to maybe catch onto the back of him and turn this into a race for second place. So any mistakes can happen, anything can happen in karting. We've seen it before many times in the series where a leader will make a mistake and turn it into something interesting for us towards the end of the race. But Casey running a little bit deep into that hairpin, running wide onto the grass. He hasn't lost a lot of time on Leviwe, but it's not going to help him catch Jude Stewart out there in the front. 4 laps left to go now, and it's still Jude Stewart with a commanding lead as we look back to the Squadra Corsa driver of Leviwe Ambudle. Casey Angel-Smith just out in front, the NBR driver just out in front there. Casey Angel-Smith Racing, also one of our sponsors and contributing towards the prizes of this series. And Leviwe Ambudle trying to catch onto the back of him, but just not able to turn a consistent fast pace. He has had some pace on the circuit previously, but also a driver that spent a lot of time at the Super Finals. He has driven at the Super Finals as well, so he knows the circuit in real life. So these two boys have done some laps here, have done some time here. Same it can be said for Luke Hill as well, a driver that's also spent a lot of laps on the circuit in the real world. But none of that pace doesn't seem to be translating into the virtual at the moment. As we have a look now, it looks like Raheem Karim is catching onto the back of Taylor Hill there for that 4th space, or that 4th spot on the grid, and he seems to be catching quite quickly if I have a look at my graph on the left-hand side. So Taylor Hill now coming under pressure from Raheem Karim. Raheem very quick at the moment in the kart racing pro sim. You can see the gap there has definitely come down, but the gap on Luke Hill is quite massive at the moment. So maybe a mistake losing him some time and dropping him well back off the group at the moment. But we head back to the front now. The viewer definitely caught onto the back of Casey there in that lap, so the gap is getting smaller between these two. And we may see a bit of a race for this second place as this race draws to a close. But at the moment, Taylor Hill holding off the 3rd place in the championship at the moment, holding off Raheem Karim from that 4th place on the road. So Taylor needs to stay in that 4th place to maintain her points haul that she has been getting throughout the series. Misses consistency. She's always consistently up there, and when mistakes happen, she's always the first to gain from them. And has had quite a few second places throughout the series. But Raheem just a little bit quicker there onto that straight now. He's going to be close enough to have a move as they go into the hairpin. Quick break, right, left, right click. So is he going to be close enough to have a move on the inside here? No, not just yet. He gets, big mistake from there over the curve. So he was close enough to make a move, but just trying a little bit too hard to stay in touch and grabbing a little bit too much curve, and that cost him dearly through that hairpin. Trying to stay close to the back of Taylor Hill, trying to get the slipstream down the main straight. The thing that does exist in these karts, and it is quite heavy, and you can see him pull that kart right onto the back of Taylor Hill through this fast section here. She goes defensive early, and Raheem thinks better of making the move down the inside here, but he is definitely close enough into the hairpin. He's going to be looking for the inside. He goes to the inside now. He's deep down the inside. Outbreaks himself massively, and it hands that position right back to Taylor Hill. So with only 2 laps left to go, 1.5, Taylor Hill still holds on to that 4th place, and 4th place points, most importantly, for her 3rd place in the championship at the moment. She needs to stay there to try and keep that 3rd place in the championship alive. So doesn't want to drop back another place, but Raheem down the inside again, outbreaks himself again. Taylor Hill goes for the cutback. She gets it done. Tries to close his nose off so he can't come back, but she goes for the cutback. And again, She makes it this time. She makes the move stick. Oh, Raheem, big down the inside, almost turning the cart over onto two wheels there. Hard down the inside and big contact with Taylor Hill on her side. But Taylor not giving up just yet. She's staying down the inside into turn one. Is she going to make a move here? She's on the inside of Raheem as they go through. Oh, Raheem onto the curb. Onto the curb, just lifting the back wheels off into the air and turns that cart around. So Raheem handing fourth place to Taylor Hill. After Taylor Hill fought him very, very hard for that half of a lap. Quite a intense battle between the two of them there. But we go on to our leader now, who will be completing his last lap. 2 corners left to go. 1 left to go after this. Jude Stewart will be coming across to take the checkered flag and win in pre-final 1. Just ahead of Tracy Enzel Smith and Lupiwa Sambudla in 3rd place. Taylor Hill will hold off Raheem Karim with only 2 corners left to go for her 4th place in pre-final 1. And behind her will be Raheem Karim in 5th and Luke Hill in 6th. Luke having a little bit of a struggle at the moment. He has been quite quick on the circuit previously, but hasn't spent much time in the sim. So yeah, I'm sure he'll find some pace now for the final heat of the day. Taylor Hill hanging on to that 4th place at Raheem Karim and Luke Hill in 6th. Short break now. The final. So the graphic I have on my right-hand side, Shan, is that correct? So I've got Casey Enzel Smith in 1st place ahead of Jude Stewart. 3rd place will be Taylor Hill. 4th, Lupiwa Sambudla. 5th, Raheem Karim. And 6th, Luke Hill. So I did mention them cutting the curbs there on the right-hand side, and there is a penalty for that, an infringement for exceeding track limits. So because of that, Jude Stewart drops down to 2nd place behind Casey Enzel Smith. Taylor Hill takes 3rd ahead of Lupiwa Sambudla, Raheem Karim, and Luke Hill. So that will be your final result for pre-final. We head now into the final race. So on the left-hand side here, we've got the penalties there that Shan was showing us. It is cutting corners, like I said. So that is a track exceeding track limits infringement, and that will give you a 5-second penalty. So Jude Stewart getting a penalty, Lupiwa Sambudla, Luke Hill, Raheem Karim, Jude Stewart again, and Sambudla again. So guys, they need to stay within the track limits, within the lines of the circuit, and they won't be getting penalties. As we head now into the start of the final, the pre-start of the final, we're just waiting for them to get all settled into their grid slots, and we will go to the start. So on pole at the moment, where he finished in pre-final, is Casey Enzel Smith on pole ahead of Jude Stewart, ahead of Taylor Hill, Lupiwa Sambudla, Raheem Karim, and Luke Hill, who unfortunately was disqualified for rolling on the start. Will we be seeing a restart? They are allowed 3. At the moment, it looks as though the race is on, and it's Casey Enzel Smith out in the... No. Restart. Got to look excited there. Right, back on the grid now. Luke Hill, Lupiwa Sambudla, everybody dropping into their grid slots. Taylor Hill is there. I don't see Jude Stewart just yet. Jude Stewart now on the grid, as I say it. So we are getting ready to do another start. Luke Hill needs to stay on the brake. He can't accelerate before the start, otherwise he will be disqualified from the event and from the start. He'll be starting down in that 6th place in his RS kart, ahead of Raheem Karim and Tony Kart, Lupiwa Sambudla in his Fernando Alonso, Taylor Hill in her RS kart. The race has started. Taylor Hill a little bit slow on the go there, so she's dropping right down to 6th place. It's not Raheem Karim, but Casey Enzel Smith out in the lead at the moment from pole position. He's gotten himself a good start. A bit of contact there between the two in the front. Lupiwa Sambudla, he's going to capitalize on that, going down the inside of Jude Stewart, but whoa, everybody running wide there. Luke Hill down the inside now of Lupiwa Sambudla. He gets the move down. He's early on the brakes. So, contact between himself and Lupiwa Sambudla, and contact throughout all of those carts. So Luke getting smashed by another cart there as well. I think that was Taylor Hill that drove into the side of him. So Luke Hill and Lupiwa Sambudla making heavy contact into the second hairpin, and it just resulted in a lot of carts making contact with a lot of other carts. And this has allowed Casey Enzel Smith a comfortable lead ahead of Jude Stewart and Raheem Karim. So Raheem Karim, the big winner there, going from the 6th on the grid up into third in one corner. Jude Stewart, so just hang on, try and get his head down. He doesn't need to focus on Raheem Kareem. Oh, he runs wide again. So does Raheem. That's not going to help your drive down the straight, though, boy. You need to try and stay between those white lines. Both of them already having a penalty for driving off the circuit. So if my thing is correct, my screen is correct, and the graphic on my right hand side is correct, it is currently Casey Angel-Smith ahead of Raheem Kareem. So Jude Stewart getting another penalty for running wide. Then it will be Luke Hill, Levius Mbudla, Taya. Yes, so time penalty for Jude Stewart. He's right down in sixth place actually at the moment. 7.1 seconds, so he needs to gain 0.1 of a second. He'll get that fifth place back. And another 2 seconds to get that place back on Luke Hill. At the moment, though, Luke Hill and Levius Mbudla in a massive battle for third and fourth. We can see that they're now. Luke running a slightly wide. It's going to allow Levius up the inside. Is he going to let Levius? No, he turns it in on Levius. Levius rides right over the curb and is bogged right down. So into the clutches of Taylor Hill he goes. So Luke hanging on to that fourth place. Oh, he makes a mistake in the second effort. Rather lift for a corner than try flat out. Boy, it's like it's a bit difficult around the second. But Luke having experience in the slower version of these karts on the circuit as well, so maybe trying to run those lines very similar to what he's running in this. But unfortunately, these cars are quite a bit quicker. So struggling a bit with the handling at the moment of this chassis. Also, he's unable. Oh, he's run wide again, and that's allowed Levius Mbudla on his outside. Is he going to make the move stick? No. So Luke still gets the drive out of the corner, but he's going to have grass on his tires. It's not going to help him through that long double left into the chicane. They go now. Luke goes defensive early, cut back to the outside because Levius is not coming down there. He misses the first apex, and that's slowed his exit. Levius is going to have another go down into the second. No, he thinks better of it as Luke runs wide again into the first airpit as well. So Luke just a little bit raggedy at the moment and running wide a little bit faster. And that's allowing all these drivers to get past it with ease. But he was fighting hard and unfortunately he has lost a lot of time. It sounded like Taylor Hill going off there behind Luke in the last of the hairpins of the lap there. So Levius Mbudla moves himself up into fourth place. Jude Stewart putting in some great lap times and moving himself back up into third on the road and on the timesheet. So Jude Stewart now up into third behind Raheem Kareem. Only a second off him at the moment, 0.9 off the moment. So his penalty he's up into second already. So he's got him past Raheem. But due to his penalty, Raheem is still in that second place. So Jude Stewart, he needs to go 0.9 of a second ahead of Raheem Kareem to get that second place from Casey. Casey doesn't know that Jude has penalty. But if he does know, it'd be best if Jude wants to fight him. Rather than let Jude go and stay in close behind him. Pull a Lando Norris and gain a couple of positions because you don't have the penalty. So right now the gap is only 0.5 seconds between Raheem and Jude Stewart on the timesheets. Obviously Jude Stewart ahead of him on the road. So if he can find another half a second in the next few laps, it will promote him up into that second place spot on the timesheets as well as on the circuit. So Jude Stewart pushing hard though to find that half a second on Raheem Kareem. Further back though, it does look like Levius Mbudla is catching on to the back of Raheem. But this is where the battle is at the moment between Jude Stewart and Casey Angel-Smith on circuit. But Jude Stewart is still down in third on the time because of that corner cuts penalty. Levius Mbudla is still down in fourth, 7 seconds behind. Down the next race. Oh, contact between the two of them, and also we've got a kart stuck on the side of the circuit. It looks like Luke Hill stuck in the first of the tight hairpins. You should down the inside. Casey just giving him the room, letting him go. Doesn't want to make contact and end his race. And also, I think he knows that Jude has contact between the two of them again. He must know that Jude has that penalty. So Jude Stewart does have that penalty. He is in the lead. Oh, there's Luke Hill upside down on his head in the first of the tight hairpin. So unfortunately, Luke's race coming to an early end with 10 laps left to go. I have been told that I'm having a little bit of a mic issue. So for a couple of seconds, I'm just going to switch on my mic and see if it does improve anything. Right, looks as though I am back at the moment. Hopefully. So we are back now. Getting a message though, why is Luvius Mbudla being investigated for that on the track incident? He did move right across the side of Raheem Karim from our screens. Maybe he saw it from a different perspective on board. It is difficult to make a judgment from where we are sitting, but it did look like Luvius Mbudla moved right into the path of Raheem Karim there. So Luvius Mbudla under investigation for that move. Luke Hill is out of this race. He was lying upside down on his head there. Oh, big mistake from Casey. Does he hold on to it? It does look like he does. He just needs to stay within a certain amount of seconds. I think it's 5 seconds of Jude Stewart, and he will be able to maintain that first place position on the timesheet, not on the circuit, but on the timesheet. Luvius Mbudla now looking for a way past on Taylor Hill. Taylor just letting him through there. Doesn't want to fight with him. Just wants to finish this race. So Taylor Hill currently in third place. So Luvius Mbudla down in fourth, even though he has gone past. Will it change the go of the timing line? It does. So Taylor Hill right on the back of Luvius Mbudla. She's going to be looking for a way past as they head into turn one. I don't know if she's close enough yet. They head into turn one. She doesn't quite get the drive out that Luvius does. So I don't know if she'll be having a move into the hip. And she is looking racy though, but thinks better of it and rather finish the race for good points than crash and lose those points. But out in the front, and while out in front is the car 76 and 68. That is Jude Stewart and Casey Enzel Smith. Quite a distance ahead of the rest of the field, with Luvius Mbudla and Taylor Hill fighting it out for third and fourth place. Quite a distance behind them, and the unfortunate Raheem Karim making contact with Luvius Mbudla and getting sent off the circuit and dropping way down the order. So Jude Stewart, 4.2 seconds behind Casey because he has a 5-second penalty. So all Casey needs to do for the next 5 laps is not lose a second a lap, and he'll remain the winner of the final. So he will walk away with 2 wins on the day, winner in pre-final and winner in final if he can stay within 5 seconds of Jude Stewart. With now only 4 laps left of this final heat for the Mini 60. We will be going to the senior final. A couple of more entries on the grid than what we see here in the Mini. So hopefully we see some more interesting racing out of the carts around the circuit. But while we watch this group in front and see if Jude Stewart can pull out that gap, it is down to 4 seconds, but it was 4.2 at the start of this lap. So he needs to find another 4 seconds over the next 4 laps. So you'd have to lap, theoretically, a second lap faster than Casey every lap to work to end up being the winner of this final heat. Oh, up on 2 wheels. A little bit too much curve there, Jude. That was almost on your head, mate. Almost on your head. So lucky to get away with that. But he is pushing hard to find 4 seconds on current first place man, Casey Enzel Smith. Yes, he is behind Jude on the road, but Jude does have a 5-second penalty for cutting across. But while we watch them at the moment, we take the time to thank our sponsors. Full Gas Arturo today. Against all odds, Casey Enzel Smith Racing, or just Casey Racing, and Josh Luru Racing, contributing to the prize purse at the end of this championship. We are now round 3 of this championship here at the Lonato circuit. We mustn't also forget a True Race are also one of our major sponsors here for the prize purse. So big shout out to True Race as well for getting involved, getting on board with us, and helping us give some decent prizes to these gents for some hard fought racing on track. As I speak though, with 3 laps left to go, Jude has managed to bring that gap down to 3.3. So either a mistake from Casey or a proper stonker of a lap from Jude. So 3.3 seconds is the gap at the moment. Is Jude going to be able to eke out another 3 seconds on Casey Enzel Smith to take... Oh, Taylor Hill is out. On my screen, Taylor Hill's also out. So unfortunately, Taylor ending up out of this race, leaving us only 4. So that promotes Raheem Karim up into 4th place. But as we look now, 2 laps left to go. The gap down to 2.8. So it is getting close. Casey needs to keep the hammer down and keep chasing Jude. He needs to keep that gap under 5 seconds. Oh, Jude on his head. Jude is upside down on the side of the circuit. That is unfortunate. So Jude Stewart grabbing too much curb, turning that card upside down, and he is now out of this race. So we had 6 on the grid. We're down to 3 finishes with only 2 laps left to go. Luviwe Sambudla gets passed into 3rd place, but he does have quite a few penalties to his name, so he's got to make up 19 seconds. But with Jude lying on the side of the circuit on his head, I don't see that not happening. So now Luviwe Sambudla up into 3rd place, ahead of Rahim Karim in 4th. But there are only... No, Jude Stewart still shows on my screen as 2nd, so we'll wait for him to cross the timing line again, and we'll be able to see what happens on the right-hand side of my screen and who is where on this grid. So Rahim, the unlucky one, has now just become the lucky one and promoted himself into 3rd place by just being on the circuit and not being upside down on his head. So what these cards do tend to pick up on 2 wheels on a high grip surface, but it is a little bit exaggerated in this game. So they do tend to roll over quite easily if you grab a little bit too much curb. But Rahim running a bit wide there, probably will get a penalty for that. But Casey Engelschmidt will start his final lap now and end up the victor of this race. White flag signifies 1 lap left to go for Casey Engelschmidt, who is currently well away in the lead and well ahead of Luviwe Sambudla. All he needs to do is off. Quick left to the right hand there. Make sure not to run wide. You don't want to end up with any penalties and throw away this position. But nice and tidy to that effort. Up to the 2nd double left. Quite a quick corner. You want to hit the first apex. Keep the steering wheel into the 2nd. Quick up, stay on the 2nd apex. And then keep the foot down towards the quick to the left right. Okay. And then hard pass. Quick left to the 2nd. Hard on the thing. And then first of the 180. 2 corners left to go for Casey Engelschmidt before he crosses the line as the victor of both the pre-final earlier on tonight and this, the final heat of round 3 of the South African Kart Racing League. Casey Engelschmidt, the victor here, giving us a bit of a fist pump as we go back to Luviwe Sambudla, currently in 2nd place. Will cross the line in 2nd after a very, very interesting race and basically a race of attrition. So Luviwe Sambudla, after a bit of contact with most of the field, manages to cross the line in 2nd place ahead of Rahim Karim in 3rd. The unlucky one has just become the lucky one. That brings to a close the final of our mini 60s. We'll have a short break before we 2-place penalty for driving in a manner incompatible with safety. So that is card 65. That will be Luviwe Sambudla. So he will get a 2-place penalty. So that'll drop him down. I don't know if they will include Jude Stewart considering he was out of the race. But in my mind, that will drop him down to 3rd and promote the unlucky one, Rahim Karim, up into 2nd place in this final heat of the mini 60. That brings a close to our mini 60 event. There will now be a short break and a quick ad while we wait for the start of our senior pre-final and final here at Lunato. welcome to round 3 here at Lenato, this of the senior class. We are running 2 classes. It is the minis and the seniors. The seniors running in the KF3 format of karting, a older format of karts, so we don't run the KF3s worldwide anymore. They are now called OKJs, but we have chosen to go for the KF3 in this format because at the end of the game it is a little bit easier to drive. We must thank all our sponsors: Full Gas, Against All Odds, True Race, Casey Racing, and Josh LaRue Racing for contributing to the prize packet for these gents at the end of the season. Winner of the season will be getting a prize from them, from those sponsors, either a cash prize or be it a simulator like given to the Mini 60 class, the winner of the Mini 60 class. Currently, we only have 4 minutes left to go of qualifying as we look at Aiden Hall in his Charles Leclerc. Aiden Hall is currently sitting down in 4th place, 0.9 off the pace, 4.9 off Josh LaRue, with Andrew in 2nd and Dolinchek in 1st. Dolin checking out once again, a 2nd quicker than anybody else on the circuit. Carlo Olivier down in 6th ahead of John Stewart and Eugene Britz. Quite an interesting spread here. There's quite a big gap between all these drivers. It's not a very long circuit, so interesting to see why there is such a gap. But again, it might be because my screen doesn't match up with what is actually happening in qualifying. That has happened in the first 2 rounds, so I won't get too excited just yet. And we'll wait and see what happens at the end of qualifying. With only 3 minutes left to go, we're right on board now with Carlo Olivier in his Ralph Schumacher kart. Behind him, that does look like Eugene Britz, always picking the biggest of the numbers, or that could be our COC Alex. So always picking the biggest number on the grid, though, is Eugene Britz, and he normally drives in the Zanardi. But currently, we are on board with the RS piloted by Carlo Olivier. Carlo, a KZ2 driver in the real, now driving in the KF3, taking a lot of curb through that chicane. Maybe a little bit too much there. But Carlo is currently on my screen down in 6th place. So we will see at the end of the ends up, but currently down in 6th place. Right, sorry guys, just a quick break in my sound there for some reason. We're right on board now with Kart 900. It is Eugene Britz. I was correct. Eugene picking the biggest numbers he can. That seems like this thing. But now in a Forza Racing suit, driving a CRG. He was in a Zanardi suit, driving a Zanardi last round. But now in the CRG, and it's himself and Carlo back at it again, chasing each other around the circuit like they did at our run in Genk last week. The two of them were quite close together throughout the race, but and doing it again at the moment. But it'll be interesting to see where they end up with 1 minute and 44 seconds left to go in qualifying. But I do expect a Dolan checking out to be on pole. Andrew Sternkamp, Andre Sternkamp finding a little bit of time there over practice, and now is sitting in 2nd place. Troy taking massive amount of curve to that chicane, and that is probably where he's finding a lot of time. But he is helping Aiden Hall around the circuit and trying to see if he can give Aiden Hall a little bit of momentum for this event and maybe help him find some time. But as it stands at the moment, Aiden down in 6th place on my screen. He crossed the line now. No change in my timesheet. So I'm not 100% sure if my timesheet is correct at the moment. But Aiden Hall currently in 6th place there with Troy Donchik right behind him. Troy just getting some race practice and maybe following Aiden Hall around the circuit. They do seem very closely matched. So I don't think the times we are seeing is what is going to be shown in the race. And it does look like most of these carts are rather closely matched around this tight Lenato circuit. Through the chicane there, Aiden again taking a lot of curves. So a lot of curves needs to be taken to the fast lap. Aiden was very quick into that first 180. He has managed to hold it up Get that contact from Troy onto the back of Aiden Hall during qualifying. No need for that, son. No need for that. Let's keep that for the race. So Aiden Hall, unfortunately, looked like he wasn't a strong lap. But that contact from Troy Dolicic not helping his chance at all of setting a faster lap time with only 11 seconds left to go. So that would have been Aiden Hall's last flying lap of qualifying, and that was robbed of him by Troy Dolicic. Looking back now at Andre Stink, I'm currently in second place on my screen. Qualifying has come to an end. Maybe they do get a last lap smash at going a little bit faster. You can ride with him now. It's Andre Steenkamp trying to get onto the back of Aiden Hall, using him as a bit of a rabbit to improve his lap time and hopefully move himself onto pole position. Andre, normally in a Tony Kart, now in a CRG, he runs slightly wide in that second. Puts the wheel on the grass on the brakes and unfortunately turns himself around. And that would have been his last opportunity at a strong lap. On board now with John Stewart. We just saw his son dominate in the minis. If not for a penalty, he would have been a winner in both heats. And if not for making that mistake in the second heat and turning the kart onto his head, was definitely a fun runner. That brings qualifying to an end. Let's have a look at our results and see where they will start. Dolan checking out is on pole with a 49.9, almost, well, half a second quicker than that of Eugene Brits in with a 50.4. Then Josh Ruud in third with a 50.492. Carlo Olivier in fifth, 50.7, and Aiden Hall in fourth, and Aiden Hall in fifth. Right, back to on track action. And now they are lined up and ready to go. Hopefully we don't see any DQs or restarts. It does say that they're waiting for lights. Lights are out, and Troy Dolicic does get a good start ahead of that of Eugene Britt. Looks like Josh LaRue as well getting away well, but there's Carlo Olivier and Josh LaRue, the two red cars. Aiden Hall trying to sleep between the two of them. That was never going to go well for anyone. So Aiden Hall, unfortunately, putting his nose where there was no space and causing an incident between those three drivers. So unfortunately, Carlo Olivier getting dropped well down the order, but it has promoted Josh LaRue up into third. He does make a bit of contact there with Eugene Brits, but I think it's just because Eugene didn't know he was there. A nice switchback move from Josh LaRue there, and it moves him up into that second place ahead of Eugene Brits. He says to Eugene Brits, come on, let's go chase Troy Dolicic up there in front. Josh LaRue did very well here last year in the Super Rock finals, or the Supercard finals for Rock Cup in the OKJ class. So he knows the track pretty well, and he was one of the contenders in most leagues. So Josh LaRue's got a little bit of experience on the track in real life. And it looks like Andre Steenkamp has now also gone past Eugene Brits. So Eugene Brits making a mistake in that last 180s and losing that third place to Andre Steenkamp. But what an eventful lap one. Aiden Hall getting out of that incident with Carlo Olivier and won the better, because he seems to be just a little bit ahead of that of Carlo Olivier. So Aiden Hall and Carlo have got a lot of work to do to catch this. Unfortunately, away past Andre Steenkamp. He's going to try to catch that cluster. No, he's just for another lap. They're heading out into the game. Back on the Andre, backs it out. Last minute, a lot of curves they're taking. Money to get the 8 out there. They haven't done to the hip and runs a little bit wide onto the grass. It's going to hamper him on the brake. So he gets down a little bit better than what Andre Steenkamp does. But Andre running wide into the second 180. That's allowed Eugene Brits up the inside. So they give Andre the inside for the following corner. Eugene going for the cutback now. It's going to be a drag race down to turn 1 to see who takes over third place in the pre-final of the seniors. Andre just backing up and letting Eugene through, maybe knowing that Eugene is a little bit quicker. So Eugene now up in the third ahead of Andre Steenkamp. Behind him, John Stewart. Behind that, Carlo Olivier has gotten past Aiden Hall, or does Aiden Hall have a penalty? No, it looks as though Aiden Hall has been penalized 5 seconds for exceeding track limits. So Carlo Olivier up in that 6th place now, taking a place back from Aiden Hall. Oh, mistake from John Stewart there. It's allowed Aiden Hall around his outside of this game, and that's bogged him even further. So he will be moving into the clutch of Carlo Olivier very, very quickly. Carlo has got pace. We saw it in qualifying, so he will be looking to move his way through. So Aiden Hall now up into 5th place on the road, but still down in 7th due to that 5-second penalty. He received the track limits. On board now with Carlo Olivier trying to make his way back up the field. He's chasing down John Stewart, not one to give up. He is going to hope and pray that he makes a few places here. He has been doing well throughout the championship and was second, I think, in one of the heats.
So he is very, very quick as we have a look at his Steel Form Racing sticker, Ralf Schumacher CRG. Unfortunately, there is no IPK in the Kart Racing Pro, so the Ralf Schumacher has resorted. The Ralf Schumacher team of South Africa has resorted to using the CRG frame to replicate their Ralf Schumacher here in the game. That had to be modded outside of the developers. So Carlo Olivier in that Ralf Schumacher chasing down John Stewart. John Stewart Carlo making a mistake there through the second 180, and all the time he made catching on the back of John Stewart is wasted. But Aiden Hall back down in seventh place because of that penalty. So he needs to find 5 seconds on these two cars to move up any sort of places. And it looks as though that's going to be a difficult ask. But Carlo Olivier getting onto the back of John Stewart at the moment and looking to get past him. John running a little bit wide again into that hairpin. It's allowed Carlo around the outside of him. Is John going to let him go, or is he going to try and dive it back? No, he lets him go through the sweep. And Carlo says, come on, buddy, let's move forward. Let's get going. Let's not fight. Let's try and catch it back onto Aiden Hall. Aiden Hall now getting onto the back of Andre Stenkamp. So Aiden really does have some pace around this Lonato circuit. He's gotten around the inside. Oh, big mistake from Andre Stenkamp. And that's dropped him right off the back of Aiden Hall. He could have possibly had a cutback move on him, but unfortunately making that massive error, and has dropped him well back from Aiden. That also has allowed Carlo Olivier a lot closer to Andre. And Carlo has now moved up into 5th place on the timesheet, ahead of John and Aiden, because of that 5-second penalty that Aiden has received. Riding on board now with Dolan checking out, well out there in the front, definitely living up to his namesake that we have given him. It was my co-commentator Shan that dubbed him that nickname, but he is living up to that nickname and is for sure checking out ahead of the rest of the field at the moment. So Dolan checking out, doing the same thing he did at the last round, puts his head down and pulls a massive gap, but he doesn't seem to be getting away from Josh LaRue quite as quickly as he did in Genk. At some stage of the race in Genk, he had almost 13 seconds on the chasing cart behind him. So it does look like Josh LaRue has a little bit more pace here than Donato, and we'll be hoping to give that fight to Dolanchik in the final. 7 laps of the P-final completed, 11 laps of this race is what we're looking to run. So Josh LaRue going to be trying his best to try and stay in touch there with Dolan checking out and see if maybe he could take the fight to him in the final. Eugene Britt and not letting Josh LaRue get away from him, though, keeping the gap at a consistent 2.5 seconds. So Eugene Britt's getting a little bit more comfortable with this circuit. It'll be interesting to see where Aiden Hall is in comparison to this fight, although he is going to be 5 seconds off this due to the penalty he received for catching the circuit. Eugene Britt's now to the first 180s, into the second of the 180s, now to the third. He's going to be looking to carry as much speed as he can through here. Try and keep it neat. Whoa! Mistake from Eugene Britt and from Andre Stenkamp. Carlo Olivier all right into the side of him. So that promotes Carlo up into, I think, 3rd place. Does it? They cross the line now. Yeah, Carlo Olivier up into 3rd place with Aiden Hall in 4th. So a big mix-up there throughout the grid. So a massive mistake there from Eugene Britt, sticking him in the wall. He's lost that nose code, so he's not going to have much turning ability in that kart. That kart's going to understeer horribly. But that has promoted Carlo Olivier back up in the 3rd place behind his teammate Josh LaRue, and Aiden Hall, another K2 Motorsport stablemate, down in 4th place. So a big error there from Eugene Britt, dropping him well down order. But lucky for Carlo Olivier, because that promoted him up into that 3rd place. On the road, he is 4th, but Aiden Hall does have that penalty. So Aiden Hall will not be holding on to 3rd place unless he can pull out a 5-second lead on Carlo Olivier. He crosses the line now. It is nowhere near. Aiden must have 2 penalties now because he's dropped down below John. He's dropped down to 6th, so Aiden is behind John and Andre Stenkamp. So Aiden, obviously, with more than 1 penalty at the moment, dropping himself down to 6th place. So Aiden Hall doing well to be 3rd on the road, but it doesn't relate to what he's doing on the circuit. It'll be interesting to see if that penalty was for track limits or for that start incident between himself, Josh LaRue, and Carlo Olivier. But riding on board now with John Stewart, leader of the dad's race. And the only dad in the field at the moment. We lost, unfortunately, Lee Grubin and Lance Shishniawa. Lance just snowed under with work at the moment, so unable to join us for this race. But the leader of the dad race is John Stewart at the moment, down in that 5th place. So John getting past Andre Stenkamp because of that error, and Eugene Britt. So John Stewart moving himself up in 4th place ahead of Andre Steenkamp and Eugene Brits because of those two errors we saw them make separately, but two errors unfortunately dropping these two well down the order. So unfortunate for Eugene Brits. He did look strong in that third place. But quite a big mistake there through the second hairpin, taking his nose cone and dropping him well down the order. On board with Dolan checking out now for the final lap of the pre-final, and he will take this one with ease. Well ahead of that of Josh LaRue. The gap was at 4 seconds last time we looked on lap 7. It's now up to 6. So Dolan check almost half a second quicker than anybody else on the circuit at the moment, which is not unusual for us. Dolan check has been fast all the way through. So basically, the alien in this part, he's been able to be half a second faster than most throughout the championship. To the left, to the right, taking a lot of curves through there. Hard on the brakes now for the hairpin. Really on the power. Nice, easy racing from Troy, and he will come across the line. The victor of the pre-final here at round 3 in Lenato of the South African Karting Online League. Big wave to the crowd. As you can see, the grandstands are absolutely packed here at Lenato. And Josh LaRue will take second place ahead of his teammate Carlo Olivier. And Aiden Hall, he does cross the line in third, but due to that penalty, will probably only finish down in 6th or 7th place. So Carlo Olivier takes third place for the race due to the penalties that Aiden is going to receive post-race. John Stewart ahead of Andre Steenkamp and Eugene Brits. So Aiden Hall manages to hang on to 4th place, but only just. Having a look at the penalties, Aiden has a 6 and a 5 second penalty for cutting the circuit, with Eugene Brits a 5 second penalty as well. So that is why they finished where they finished and how they finished due to all the penalties. But the front 3, no penalties for them. Troy Donachek takes the win with a race time of 9 minutes and 17 seconds. Josh LaRue in second, Carlo Olivier in third, Aiden Hall in fourth, John Stewart in fifth, Andre Steenkamp in sixth, and Eugene Brits in seventh. So we now head into the final race of the evening. It will be the seniors final. We are just waiting for everybody else to join the grid. We are missing one at the moment. Excuse me, frog in my throat. I have been going for over an hour. It is excusable. Psst. Right, final pre-start. We're waiting for them to tell us final starts, and we can get going with this race. On pole will be the winner of the pre-final, and that is Troy Donachek. In second place is Josh LaRue. Third, Carlo Olivier. Fourth, our class clown, Aiden Hall, waving around again. The race is on, and it looks like Troy Donachek has got him the lead ahead of Josh LaRue. Josh LaRue fits in behind him. Carlo Olivier around the outside, though. Will Aiden be sticking his nose down the inside again? He does, taking a lot of curve. Contact again with Carlo Olivier on the start. Let's hope they get through the first corner. Yes, they do. So Aiden Hall slots into fourth behind Carlo Olivier. Josh LaRue goes defensive because he made a mistake. Oh, he's too hard on the brakes. Contact there. So, Troy Donachek has been spun around as well. So Josh LaRue, Troy Donachek, Andre Steenkamp, and Aiden Hall. It looks like John Stewart as well. So the entire field, excepting that of Eugene Brits, got caught up in that first corner, or that first hairpin incident with Josh LaRue just grabbing a little bit too much brake. It looked like Troy Donachek grabbed a little bit too much curb, and all three of them, or both of them, spun around in front of the entire field. But the big winner there was Eugene Brits taking the lead ahead of that of Carlo. Oh, spin behind them. That's John Stewart. And that has collected. It looks as though it's collected Josh LaRue as well. So John Stewart getting collected by Josh LaRue as well. So unfortunately, Josh LaRue dropping well down the order here on the start. But that is promoted Eugene Brits to the front of this race. Josh LaRue without a nose cone at the moment. That kart isn't going to steer very well. It's going to have massive unsteer. And he is 12 seconds behind that of Aiden Hall. And a further second behind Andre Steenkamp. Troy Donachek, though, down in third place. We know he's half a second quicker than most on the grid. So he will be coming through the field quite quickly. But Carlo Olivier now up in second place, almost 3 seconds up the road. It will be a hard ask, but there are a lot of laps in this final. A 16-lap final for these boys. As we see the leftovers of Josh LaRue's incident still sitting in the track there. But Troy Donachek pushing hard to get onto the back of Carlo Olivier, and he looks to be doing it at a rapid rate. The gap was 2 seconds. It's now just down to 1. So Troy Donachek putting in an absolute flyer to catch onto the back of Carlo Olivier. Further back, we have a look at Andre Stenkamp and Aiden Hall as they head into this right-hander here. Aiden Hall running wide again. Careful, though, not to cut the circuit and end up with another penalty. Hard onto the brakes on the hair, but Aiden Hall just going in way too late there. And unfortunately losing a lot of time on Andre Stenkamp there. Through the double left-handers now into the chicane. It's Aiden Hall chasing down Andre Stenkamp quite hard. He's going to be able to make it stick and get onto the back and rapidly get the move done and move himself up into fourth place, into the first of the 180s. Nice wide line there from Aiden. Early on the power, gets a good drive out. Again, a nice, just a little bit too much steering input there, and a mistake from Aiden Hall, and he's unable to get onto the back of Andre Stenkamp into turn one and make the move he wanted to. But at the moment, I'm looking at the front now between these two. It's Carlo Olafia for second. So, Troy Dolenchik down in third. Dolan checking out, making an uncharacteristic mistake on the first opening lap into this hairpin of the mechanics corner, and maybe grabbing a little bit too much curve and just turning the carts around. And that has dropped him down into third place behind Eugene Brits and Carlo Olafia. But he has caught that gap, closed that gap very quickly on Carlo. It's gone from 4.2 seconds now down to 1 full second, down 2.7. And it looks as though it's next to nothing now as they head into the second of the 180s. Carlo trying to keep it neat and smooth, so taking a bit of a more of aggressive route, and it does seem to be working for him. Got a good run onto the main straight. He's going to go inside early. And it looks like he's going to make this move stick into 2 and 1. Carlo unaware he's there at the moment. So, late dive down the inside. He did cut back in for the slipstream. Got the late dive done on Carlo Olafia, and he moves himself up into second place and will be getting his head down now to go and get his head down now to go off the chase of Eugene Britt. Aiden Hall getting past Andre Stenkamp there up into that fourth place. But the fight is between Carlo Olafia and Troy Dolenchik. It looks as though Carlo Olafia is just going to sit behind him and watch his lines, try and see if he can use Troy to pull him onto Eugene Brits, who's currently 3 seconds ahead in the lead at the moment. So Carnage on the opening lap has shuffled the grid for us and has got a little bit of racing throughout the field for the time. The gap now to Eugene Brits and Troy Dolenchik only 2.6. It was 3.8 at the start of the last lap. Carlos also brought his gap down from 3.8 to 3.1. So we are looking to see these two chase down the current leader, Eugene Brits, for the lead of this race. Aiden Hall, 9 seconds currently off the leaders. So he's got a lot of work to do to get himself back up the field. Unfortunately, that incident, not his fault at all, just taking him out of the running for a strong finish. It looked like we were going to have a good race between Aiden Hall, Eugene Brits, Josh LaRue, and Carlo Olafia, but unfortunately, it wasn't to be because of a mistake into the mechanics by Josh LaRue. Josh LaRue currently in 16 seconds behind that of Andre Stenkamp, but he is ahead of John Stewart. But we saw John Stewart make that error into this hairpin, and it cost him a lot of time, and of course also Josh LaRue's nose cone. So Josh LaRue involved in 2 incidents in this race already, and that will explain his issues at the moment and where he is on the grid. But having a look again at the front now, the gap was 2.6 the last we looked. It's now down to 1.9. So Troy Dolenchik making quick work of that gap to the lead and getting onto the back of Eugene Brits is inevitable. Whether or not catching someone is one thing, passing is another. So currently Eugene Brits 1.9 seconds ahead of Troy Dolenchik as they head into the final hairpins of the lap. Let's see what the gap is now as they cross the stop finish line with 1 corner left to go of this lap. It'll be interesting to see if Troy has gained more, and so has Carlo. Carlo brought his gap down from 3.1 to 2.9 in the previous lap. So Carlo doing well to chase Dolenchik. Dolenchik brought it down to 1.4 now on that lap, and Carlo able to bring the gap down to 2.7. So Carlo Olafia still staying within touch of Eugene Brits. I don't think he'll be able to catch Troy Dolenchik, but following him is definitely helping him go faster and allowing him to catch onto the back of Eugene Brits as we speak. Sorry guys, just waiting my beat there. My voice active. I do have to go from this to Sarko to do another commentary gig there. So just trying to keep my voice as fresh as possible for that and as fresh as possible for you. It has been very exciting watching this karting, and that's probably why my voice is taking a bit of strain. I find myself shouting quite often throughout this race. But having a look now at the leader, it's Eugene Brits, and the gap has been brought down to only 0.7 by Troy Dolenchik on that previous lap. So Troy Dolacek finding over zero point 0.7 of a second on that lap to get onto the back of Eugene Britt. Carlo Olivier still chasing hard, 2.5 seconds off this. So if there is a dice between these two, it will bring Carlo Olivier into the fray and make it a three-way dice here for the lead. But I do see Troy Dolacek not making easy work of Eugene Britt. Eugene Britt's a more mature head on his shoulders, and it's historically quite difficult to get around. Let's see if Troy Dolacek can prove me wrong in his cosmic. Troy Dolacek from the Western Cape. Spots by keeps tools down there. Luckily, they also allowed to go back to the track for some real circuit practicing, so we can see just why all these guys have improved their development circuits of late. So a little bit of improvement from all these drivers, and probably just because they've been able to get to their real carts. Eugene Britt going defensive early. Troy Dolacek going for the cutback, and he makes it easy. So Troy Dolacek making easy work of that, making it look far too simple for my liking, and unfortunately it makes quick work of getting past Eugene Britt. I think that's it already. Britt tried to go defensive, and unfortunately breaks himself, and just allowed Troy Dolacek to get that cutback done. Eugene Britt's now going to hang on to the back of Troy Dolacek and hopefully pull that gap between himself and Carlo Olivier. Looks as though Aiden Hall has made a mistake and dropped behind Andre Steenkamp now, or has caught Andre Steenkamp. I'm not quite sure. I don't actually remember what their order was previously, but in fact, I'm not sure that Aiden Hall had already gotten past Andre Steenkamp. So making a mistake, giving time to Andre Steenkamp. Josh Leroux is out of this race. So unfortunately, he's decided to retire himself from this. We've had issue that first lap incident and losing his nose cone quite had enough pace to catch anybody anytime soon. But on board now with Aiden Hall as he tries to find a way past Andre Steenkamp. With only 5 laps left to run in this final, it looks as though Aiden Hall definitely does have the pace to get past Andre Steenkamp. As I said, they're running just a little bit too much curb. Nice to see Aiden Hall finding some pace, though. He has had some pace in previous races, but a lot of unforced errors or driving mistakes have caused him to drop down the order. So he's looking a little bit more neat and tidy this race and keeping himself on the circuit as we speak. He's down the inside now of Andre Steenkamp to that right-hander. He does make the move stick. Hard on the brakes into the right-hander, or just a quick lift. He's run wide. Is that going to be a time penalty for Aiden Hall? It'll be interesting to see. Oh, hard on the brakes. He managed to catch it. What a catch there from Aiden Hall, doing a little bit of rallycross into that hairpin. And not only does he catch it, he turns it into a passing opportunity on Andre Steenkamp. So a great bit of driving there from Aiden Hall through the chicane, right and then left, and he makes the move stick there on Andre Steenkamp. Will be interesting to see if he does get a cutting penalty for running wide there like he did. You can see him gap that wheel quite hard through these hairpins. It does look quite spectacular on our cameras to see those carts up the inside wheel. But back to the front, the gap between Carlo Olivier and Eugene Britt is growing smaller by the lap, but there is only 3 laps left to run in this race. So whether or not Carlo Olivier can get onto the back of Eugene Britt before the end of the race is still to be seen. But with just over a second gap between the two of them, it might just be possible for Carlo Olivier to get himself back up into second place and score some valuable championship points on Eugene Britt. 2 corners of this lap left to go. We will have 2 laps left after this. Over the top of the side now, Carlo 2.9. So Carlo brought this down to the gap to 1 second. He only has 2 laps left, so you'd have to run half a second lap quicker than Eugene Britt. Eugene Britt to make a mistake for it to be possible for Carlo Olivier to get past that of Eugene Britt. On board now with Aiden Hall as he crosses the line. 22 seconds off the leaders. So obviously a couple of penalties there for Aiden. And it looks as though Andre Steenkamp has fallen well by the wayside of Aiden Hall. But this is the dice till the end of the race. This will be the dice, the only dice to fill to the end of the race is between Carlo Olivier and Eugene Britt. 2 season contenders, both having driven DD2 and Shifter. Carlo currently driving Shifter, and Eugene Britt, we haven't seen this for a couple of years. But I'm sure he will be back. Oh, in fact, he raced DD2 Masters last year. I speak under correction there. So a gap was 3.1 is now 4.1. So Eugene Britt's able to keep that gap at a second with 2 laps left to run. So it's going to be interesting to see if Carlo Oliveira can get onto the back of him before the last lap of this race. Looking at the maintenance of the gap, though, it looks like Eugene Britt is able to keep it at that comfortable second. So 1 second is the gap at the moment. Through the long sweep, Carlo pushing hard, runs a bit deep. If that's going to hamper him, I'm not sure. But he definitely does look closer to me on this lap. Taking a lot of curve over the right hand. There is Carlo Oliveira into the hairpin now, jacking the back wheel, as we call it. When it lifts that back wheel up into the air, we call that jack. So jacking that inside wheel. But as we ride on board with Troy Dolachik now for the last lap of the race, only 1 lap left to go for our race leader. He didn't Dolachik it out this time. He had to come back from 3rd place. But a strong drive from Troy Dolachik to move himself up into that 1st position and pull a gap of 3.6 seconds on Eugene Britt. But and it looks as though Carlo Oliveira isn't going to be able to get onto the back of Eugene Britt before the end of this race. So unfortunately, that looks like it will be the status quo with only 3 corners left to go. Troy Dolachik through the final chicane into the set of hairpins. 1 hairpin done. The 2nd hairpin done. Into the 3rd and final hairpin of this final here at the South African Online Karting League. And it will be Troy Dolachik that wins out the final and the pre-final ahead of Eugene Britt and Carlo Oliveira in 2nd and 3rd place. A great race for all these drivers, and it looks as though Aiden Hall will finish in 4th. Or will he? We're on board now with Andre Senkamp. Andre Senkamp showing in pit. So it looks as though he has moved himself up into 4th place. So Andre Senkamp in 4th place, ahead of that of Aiden Hall, who comes across the line in 5th. It still shows him as 4th though, but that obviously because of penalties throughout the race. And unfortunately, John Stewart having a bit of a torrid time in this race, a little bit of a quiet race there back after a couple of incidents there with some drivers. And unfortunately, Josh LaRue is out of this race down in 7th place. So a massive well done to Troy Dolachik, who throws some donuts for us. Carlo Oliveira as well. So they're all just throwing some donuts there to celebrate their win. But that brings to a close round 3 here at Lenato of the RSA Online Karting League. We must thank all our sponsors, Full Gas, True Race, Against All Odds, Casey Racing, and Josh LaRue Racing. Thank you very much, guys, for your sponsorship of this league. And we will see you again all next week for round 4 of the RSA Online Karting League.